Okay, welcome to this video, how to put together a kettlebell circuit. It's really easy to overcomplicate workouts, and if you do that, you're just giving yourself another reason not to start. So in this video, I'm going to show you how developing your strength and conditioning is actually really easily, and you can do it in 15 minutes or less with one of these, which is the world's heaviest microphone stand. So this is video 2 of the kettlebell series. And if you've not seen the first one, I suggest that you watch that afterwards, because we're going to use the exercises I showed you in that video and talk about them in this one. All right, so why kettlebell complexes? Like, if you're short on time, complexes are one of the most efficient ways that you can build strength and conditioning and a decent amount of muscle all in one go. So a complex is just a chain of exercises that are performed back to back with the same weight without putting the weight down. So the method that we're going to use is to chain one or more of these complexes on repeat for a circuit for a chosen amount of time, and resting is required as you go along. This approach is highly effective because it's going to keep your body moving using multiple muscles at once, so you don't need a gym full of equipment. Like I say, you just need one of these single kettlebell and that's it. So number 2, how long should you spend? So 15 minutes or less, I said, but a good place to start is 7 minutes, and you can build up from there. 7 minutes, if you're doing one good complex per minute, is going to give you the equivalent of one solid set for each exercise you've included in your complex. If you do that daily, 7 days a week, that's 7 sets a week, which is a decent start in volume for a beginner. And compared to nothing, that's game changing for your strength and your muscle health. So as your fitness improves, you can build that up to 10 or 15 minutes a day, and then potentially do 2 or 3 complexes within the minute. And if you do that, that is a ton of volume. You do that consistently, I promise you, you'll completely change your body. You do not need any longer than that. This stuff is not complicated. I'm going to show you how to put that together just next. Right, when should you do this? Do it whenever suits you, whenever is going to fit in with your life, whatever you've got going on. But having said that, I would highly recommend doing this first thing in the morning as soon as you get up. Before the world's got time to hit you with all the distractions, get up, get it done, and then move on with your day. And some mornings you're going to be tired, and that's all right. Just go easier on those days. It all counts building that habit. Make it something that your brain is just trained to do without thinking about it. Anybody can do that. Anybody can build habits with a little bit of consistency and a bit of repetition. So how do you put the complex together? Right, so when you're thinking about the construction of a balanced and effective complex or circuit, we're going to think about the 5 basic movement patterns. So that'll be a push, like an overhead press, a pull, like a bent row, a hinge, a swing or an RDL, squat, a goblet squat or a front rack squat, and then some kind of core or carry, like a plank or loaded carry. So you can think of all these things as basic boxes to tick when you're starting out. That's not an exhaustive list, but that'll do to start. Your goal is to cover most of those in a single flow. And if you do that, you're going to cover most of your major muscle groups, which is the target. So as I said at the beginning, if you've not watched the previous video, that's going to explain how to do each of these movements. That's going to have the main kettlebell patterns in them. So once you finish this one, I would suggest watching that straight afterwards. It'll make more sense once you've seen it. So I'll link it at the end. So let's start with a basic example. So the most fundamental, simple, absolute, straightforward thing that you can do if you're just getting started, just be to do one of those things after the other. So that's going to be a press up, a bent row, left and right, a goblet squat, maybe a Romanian deadlift, and then a plank. That's going to hit everything. So you would just perform that one after the other on repeat. Resting is required. Whatever amount of those that you get in the time that you've set, that's fine for that day. Even if you only did 1 or 2, you've done 1 or 2 hitting all parts of your body. And then the next day when you come back to it, just try and do 1 more. Your first target is 1 a minute for the 7 minutes, even if that takes you a couple of weeks to build up to. The biggest challenge that you're going to have is you're going to think, surely it's not that easy. Surely that's not doing anything. It is. Trust me, you're building a lifetime health hygiene habit here. A little bit a day is all it takes. Before long, you'll be able to manage like 2 or 3 complexes a minute with plenty of time to rest in there as well. Now, the sequence that we just looked at, that's ticking all the boxes, but it wasn't very exciting. It's great to start with, but it's not making best use of this thing here, the kettlebell. We can take it further with a kettlebell by chaining the movements together. So this is a more fluid kettlebell friendly sequence here. This one's going to take advantage of another kettlebell move, which is a clean. So here we have a clean based flow. Bent row, single side right pull, a clean, which is a hinge with a bit of pull, a front rack squat, an overhead press, which is push, and then you're going to return that to floor. Because that was mostly single sided, you would repeat that on the left hand side. So this sequence might be something you'll put together when you're new to the bell and you're still working on nailing your swings. So it's chaining movements together into a flow, but you're also getting time to think and adjust between the movements, which is an ideal when you're starting out. So you're probably going to agree when you look at that, that's a little bit more fluid and a little bit more interesting than the first version that we looked at. You'll also notice this sequence doesn't have a separate plank in it. And that's because we're chaining these movements together like this, and you're going to need to keep that core brace to control the bell as it's moving around. Your core is going to be working hard without a separate plank, which is another great advantage of the kettlebell here. So that sequence is better, but we can still progress it from there. When you are confident with that kettlebell swing, we can start using that in the sequence, and that might look a little bit like this one. So here we have a swing powered flow. This is a right-handed single arm swing, a clean from a swing, into an overhead press, back into another swing, and then return it to the ground. And again, like the previous sequence, we're going to repeat that on the left-hand side. Now, swings are effectively power hinges, and the core bracing, if you're doing them properly, that you're going to require, and also with a quick swap between your lower and your upper body, your heart is going to be jumping out of your chest within a few minutes. And that's another advantage of the kettlebell, the ability to train power and work capacity. If you get fit enough to throw a kettlebell around for 10 minutes, then you're fit enough for a lot of things in life. So this sequence, it can be done one on the left-hand side, put the bell down, one on the right-hand side, put the bell down, or you could do left, right, and then put the bell down, scale it as required, rest as required. And then when you feel you're ready, you can move on to the next level, which would be a mid-air swap between left and right. And you can do that at the top of a one-handed kettlebell swing. So this is going to be possible once you're absolutely comfortable with that swing pattern, and you can create a bit of float at the top with that powerful hinge. And you can challenge yourself by going between left and right without putting the bell down at all. This is probably the most efficient full body power workout that you can do, apart from maybe with a barbell complex. But the advantage with a kettlebell over a barbell is you can do so many different variations of movements. So let's look at a version of that. So we have another sequence with a mid-air swap. So we're going to swing on the right. We're going to do a clean from that, swing on the right. Then we're going to go into a kettlebell thrust, which is a squat and an overhead press chained after each other, a swing with a swap at the top, and then repeat the whole thing on the left-hand side. Like, there are countless ways that you can do this. This is just 3 or 4 examples I've given you. If you want to build muscle in a certain body part, for example, then maybe like the shoulders and chest, then you can do 2 or 3 reps of the press each complex, building up the volume on those muscles before you go back into the swing. You can do whatever you need to do in your complex. Just chain it together, make it suit your goals. So how are you going to sequence the workout? So once you've chosen your moves, I've already given you a couple of tips as you go through this, but you just decide how you're going to perform it. You do separately on each side, one right, one left, put the bell down after you've done both, 2 or 3 on the right, 2 or 3 on the left, put the bell down, rest is required. But if you want to keep it regular, maybe you do like count breaths in between. So maybe do it on the left-hand side, 10 breath recovery, right-hand side, 10 breath recovery. You suit it based on your intensity level. So get that phone, set the timer, and just go. Or even better, get a kitchen timer. So when you get up in the morning, don't go anywhere near your phone. Pick up this old analog kitchen timer, set it to the time you've chosen, 7 15 minutes, whatever it is. Just keep moving until you've done the buzzer, until you hear that buzzer. It's really that simple. And you can learn this in less time than it takes to doom scroll TikTok. It's really, really easy. The intensity is going to sneak up on you. You're using large muscle groups here, your legs, your hips, your back, your shoulders, and your heart is working hard to supply them all at the same time. The intensity will come out of nowhere. You'll know what I mean when you try it. As I've kept saying, there's no perfect formula. Choose a complex, get good at it, stick with it for 4 to 6 weeks, and then change it up. Don't get stuck chasing the optimal routine here. Start simple, be consistent, listen to your body, especially to begin with. You do not need to hammer yourself into the ground every morning. Just pick an intensity that you can repeat day in, day out, and you're naturally going to build up the stamina and the work capacity. And what used to feel hard is going to feel really easy. And then when that happens, you're going to swap it up, get a heavier bell. If you want to go a hard day, an easy day, or you can do like 7 out of 10 most days, whatever works for you. You can absolutely build strength, muscle, and excellent fitness doing this. If you pair what we're talking about in this video with 2 or 3 sessions of steady state cardio a week, and then you keep your daily step count decent, you have nailed the physical activity side for general health. The method I've shown you is adaptable, it's sustainable, and you can change it up to keep it fresh and interesting. As I say, it's not about smashing yourself every day, it's about building that consistent habit, showing up, hitting these key movements, ticking those boxes, and getting stronger one session at a time. You can absolutely find 7 to 15 minutes. And if you do, you're going to be amazed at what a little bit of consistent, simple training can build over time. Okay, that's it. If you haven't already, check out the video on the moves. It's going to explain how to perform them. That is linked here. It's going to cover proper form and how to choose the right weight of the kettlebell. It'll show you the exercises of using the sequence. If you're a client, you get any questions, drop me a message. If you need help building your own sequence, just let me know. If you are watching this on YouTube, then leave me a comment. Let me know how you got on. That's it for today. It's really that straightforward. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next one.